Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Zoned Out, and this is published by Gray Fox Games. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see our videos as they come out.
This box is super colorful.
It is. Like my hot cocoa.
Yeah, I don't know what's to follow, but this game is just as colorful laid out on the table as well. So what you're doing is there are these different city blocks that you are playing on these cards, and you are zoning them, and there's residential, commercial, industrial, that kind of thing, right? But then you get a chance to play cards on top of those city blocks. You are rezoning them, and that's kind of where the zoned out comes from. So you're putting out little buildings. You're building these buildings, actually kind of 3D, stacking them on top of each other out there on the board. You're laying out these cards in this huge tableau as you're kind of rezoning and zoning all these different areas. You're getting points as you kind of finish up areas. You get points from different scenarios in the cards. It's a lot of fun. Let me show you what it looks like on the table. All right, here's our setup for Zoned Out. We've got kind of our downtown area over here. Here's our points that we're going to be trying to achieve as the round goes on. Every player's going to have a whole bunch of these individual little buildings and a little worker building guy here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hand out 3 cards. These are the cards here, and they all have all these different kind of districts or blocks on them. What we're trying to do is we're trying to match up to districts, colors, as well as sizes. All right, so our pink buildings here are the residential zones. There are the yellow buildings, which are commercial zones, and our blue buildings over here, those are industrial zones. They come in 1, 2, or 3 density buildings. So, like here's a 1 yellow, a 2 yellow, and a 3 yellow over here. A turn is going to look like this usually. We're going to play a card. It's going to cover up either 1, 2, or 3 of the previous cards, basically, rezoning the area. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your little meeple on the card that you just played. Then you're going to draw a card to refresh your hand. So you always kind of have 3 cards. So on our future turn, maybe we would do this. And once again, we're building onto our thing. We're going to put our guy onto our card that we just played. At some point, there's going to come a time where we don't have one of those buildings in our hand. What we can do then is we can place a card somewhere else. Let's just say we do that. And then we can get our meeple to that card. What's going to happen at that point is we are going to develop that area. Developing means putting our little buildings on it based on how dense it is. So in this case, it's all just going to be 1s. And we're going to score it based off of a chart here in the book. It's in the rule book here. You have to kind of flip to it. But basically, the bigger the building, the more points it's worth. So for instance, we're doing 3 city blocks, so it's going to be worth 6 victory points. However, there's more than that. There's things that can modify it. So for everything that's touching it, like for instance, we have parks over here. Parks are going to add to our score 1, 2, 3 points. We also have parking lots and abandoned buildings that are going to subtract from our score. We've got, a -1 over here. So really what our score is going to be is a 6, 7, 8, 9, -1. So that section that we just built was 8. We would take 8 victory points from the supply. This middle card here, this is the downtown. What's going to happen is you're going to start putting in your buildings based off of where you finished the section, where you developed. So since we developed over here, our guy was over here, we're going to develop in this section, we're going to start that one up. If we developed over in this quadrant of the board, we would add 1 over here. At the end of the game, there's going to be some points awarded for who has the most in each one of these districts. So, for kind of northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast, that kind of thing. So maybe, say yellow's playing, they have 3 in this section, and we only have 2 in that section. They would get more points than us, but everyone would get some points based off how much they participated in that section. If you're going for a very big section and you're not getting the cards that you want or the sections that you need, what you can do is you can discard as many cards as you want from your hand, and you can redraw up to 3. You're going to take one of these tokens here. These are the redraw tokens. Those basically allow you to refresh your hand. However, at the end of the game, they're going to be worth some negative points. So you want to try to take as few of those as possible. In the rulebook, again, we've got another chart we can reference. It says the more you take, let's kind of got a glare here, sorry. The more redraw tokens you take, the more negative victory points you're going to get. So again, this is going to be really bad news. The last way we're going to get victory points is these zoned out bonus cards. So there's a whole bunch of them here, but what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle up and we're going to deal out 6 of them. Every player at the table is going to get 1, and then whatever's left over is going to get flipped over. In a 2-player game, each player is going to get 2 cards, and then 2 are going to be face up in the middle. All 6 of those cards are going to be scored at the end of the game. However, you're only going to know about some of them. Everyone's going to know about the ones that are in the middle face up, but everyone's going to have kind of their own private ones. So you can kind of see what everybody else is doing and maybe kind of figure out what their card in their hand might be, and maybe try to go after that as well, try to get some extra points that way. And the card's going to look something like this. It might say something like, score one more victory point for each of the heavy density commercial buildings, or blocks, I should say. This one says, get one victory point for each block in your largest contiguous area of development. So there's all kinds of different things in here. They do a whole bunch of different things, a whole lot of different ways to score points from these cards. So as the game's going on, you're getting victory points from doing your different districts over here and developing them. At the end of the game, you're going to get victory points based off of your bonus cards, and you're going to lose points based off of your development tokens, or your redraw tokens. You get points from the downtown section as well. At the end of all that, whoever has the most points is going to win the game.
All right, guys, can I just say that the little guys with their little construction hats was adorable. I didn't realize it at first until we had them out on the board, and I was like, what's that on their head? They're wearing these little construction hats. Does nothing with the gameplay. I just thought it was cute.
I liked the different bonus cards, the scoring cards. I liked how some of them were face up, and some of them were, dealt individually to all the players. So, and they all scored whether they were face up or face down. So it was really interesting to see, kind of the psychological aspect of that. Okay, I see them going for something over there. Is that one of their scoring cards? Should I also be doing that thing, or do they just happen to have the cards for it, or whatever the situation is? So I liked having those bonus cards out there, especially the ones you could see face up,
Yeah.
and it gives you all something to go for. So I thought that was nice.
So when Ryan was teaching me this game, because Ryan teaches me all of our games because he's an incredibly awesome teacher.
Thank you.
It's true. It really is true. If things happen in the future and you ever get a chance to be taught a game by Ryan, just consider yourself blessed because it is a treat. It's why I can play all these games. Anyway, when Ryan was teaching me all of this, I was so frustrated by the fact that I had to take this negative point in order to get new cards, but I totally got it because you're trying to get these huge strings of things because there's so many points in doing that. You could string 1 to 2, maybe even 3 things together pretty easily, but it's almost impossible to do that further. So they needed to make it like a thing, a negative point. Not a skip a turn, but you get a negative point to try and get all these buco points. I was frustrated at first, but then I got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other push your luck kind of a game. You have to push your luck, and if you get what you want, great. And if not, you've got to, take some kind of a backlash in order to get to that level. And, it's also, they ramp up. It's not just like a 1 point per redraw. It's like, I can't remember what it is, like 1 point for the first one, 3 points if it's 2, 5 points, or I can't remember what the actual numbers are, but the more you take, it kind of ramps up exponentially, the more negative points you get. So you really have to kind of take some lumps every once in a while and just okay, I guess I'm done here.
Yeah.
And there's kind of different ways to play too. You can kind of really use those tall ones, the heavy density areas, and kind of rush the end of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can just go a whole bunch of singles and really kind of stretch it out longer because you're not going through your buildings quite as fast. But you're still getting all the points from how big the area is. So it's nice how there was multiple ways that you kind of map out your game.
And the downtown area was really important. Just needed to... you think you're going to do really well just building in one area, but it actually benefits you to hop around to the different quadrants because that in scoring, I mean, that's a lot of points that you're giving up on if you don't even try to be in that middle area, or at least don't even try to be the majority in that middle area. It just was really fun to try to have to focus on getting your areas and zoning things out, but also seeing what quadrant are you in? Do you have any competition there?
And it's one of those games where, the more you play it, the better you understand it, too, because there's all those parking lots and abandoned buildings that can really mess you up. And, when you
we got a lot of negatives.
Our first player, too, we had a lot of negatives. And then over time, got better and better at kind of covering those up and letting the parks and the museums kind of shine. Yeah. So it was interesting. So I think overall this game was fun. It was really good. It was just I don't know if it had that kind of staying power. It's not a game that we're gonna bust out constantly, But if we bust this out every once in a while, I think this is a lot of fun. It had kind of interesting things to it. Yeah.
I think the only thing that we were really frustrated with was with the downtown blended in.
Yeah,
so sometimes we would
look at the color palette on here. It's it's kind of busy, right? And things get really busy on the board as well.
Yeah,
and downtown.
We just wanted it to be a solid color, so you could, because we would forget to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just agree with everything. I just agree, not disagree. It kind of sounded like I said disagree, but that's not what I was saying.
I disagree with whatever Ryan says.
everything. But I do agree with what he said. This was fun, and I enjoyed it. It was fun to see it on the board, to see it like with all those stacks on there. It was very colorful.
You guys, that's our thoughts on Zoned Out. Pretty cool.
If you want to, and you do want to, you should find us in all the places. Like Facebook, we're Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we are Ryan and Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.